Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I want to walk you over how I set my Canon R6 to photograph a wedding. So let's get started. So before I jump into the menu, this is the basic setting of how I will jump into most weddings with my camera set. Now, once I get to the wedding, depending on how things are going, I may make a few changes here or there in the menu, but for the most part, this is how I start the wedding. The biggest thing being, make sure you're shooting RAW, make sure you're recording images to both of your cards. So let's jump into the menu and take a look at that. Okay, so let's set the menu for how I would set up to go photograph a wedding or an event. So here's the back of the R6. To start with, I shoot RAW. I shoot large RAW. Now you can choose to shoot RAW and you can shoot JPEG with it, which is okay. I just shoot RAW because I just go through and edit everything in RAW. So, but if you want to shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time, you're fine. You can do that. It's not a problem. Cropping aspect, I leave it 16:9, so I'm shooting RAW, so it's going to be full size. And again, I'm not going to go over every menu in here, just what I use for a wedding. So, in this particular, everything is about the same on this one. Highlight tone priority, I usually leave it off, although some people do like it on. I personally leave it off. White balance, I go auto white balance because it's very good. You can, if you're in some weird lighting, you will need to do a manual white balance, but most of the time Canon's really good enough to get you through with the auto white balance. Picture style, all that is going to be for JPEGs, and I'm shooting RAW, so I have no use for any of that. Long exposure noise reduction, I keep that off. This camera goes 12,600 with no problems with noise, and if I have any extreme noise up higher than that, I'll just go into topaz. Multiple exposure, only if I'm using multiple exposure will I turn that on. And I go through again. Now we're on 6. Interval timer again. Shutter mode, I keep mechanical. Very seldom will I go to electronic shutter because very seldom do I need 20 frames a second. Release shutter without card. That is a big one. Keep that off or you will accidentally find yourself shooting pictures without a card. So you don't want that to happen, so keep that on off. Image stabilization mode, touch shutter, I disable that because I like to touch the screen to focus, and if that's on, I touch the screen and it takes a picture. Image review, I have it up for 2 seconds. Get a quick look at it. If I need to see it longer, I just push the button to bring it back up. I don't use any of this. This is all for video. Autofocus, I do one shot autofocus method. I do face tracking. Subject to detect is people, obviously at a wedding. Eye detection enable, you definitely want that on. Autofocus, continuous autofocus, keep that off. Otherwise, you're going to kill your batteries because when you set your camera down, your camera is going to constantly be trying to find something to focus on, and you're going to kill your battery. So keep that off. Focus mode, autofocus. Pretty simple on that one. I keep this one, servo AF, set to 2. Continue to track subjects, ignoring possible obstacles. This one, I leave pretty much everything the same as it's set. This one right here is the same way. Protect images, erase images. One thing, don't erase images at a wedding because you don't want to accidentally delete the wrong thing. So just save all that. If you got a few extras you have to trash later, that's fine. It's much safer than trying to, do it in camera at a wedding when everything's hectic. So just don't mess up and just save that for later. Let's see, I'm leaving all this the same size. I don't change a whole lot. Magnification, I've got that on 4, so when I see it, it comes up 4 times the size. Let's see, playback information display. Loud alert. I don't use any of the Bluetooth connections during weddings. Record function card. Now this is important. I do everything goes to both cards at the same time. So if I am doing pictures, they go to both cards. You don't want just going to one card because then you lose your multiple backups. So if you're taking pictures, let it go to both cards. Very important. So go from there. File numbering, I go continuous. File name, I've got my initials on it so that I know that I shot it. Format card, this is where you format your card in your camera. No, I won't do it right now. obviously, but that's where you would do it. Language English, on through. Screen brightness, I go through and adjust that. Right now I'm on 4. So yeah, so that's where I'm at on there. Viewfinder brightness, I keep that on auto. Mess with any of that. Reset camera, I don't mess with that. My battery info is very important. I have the battery grip on here, so I have 2 cards. So this one has 59 pictures taken. It's at 59% left. This one's at 49. It's at 65% left. You'll get a lot more pictures than that. I've just been playing with the menu and other things, so that's not normal. You will get a lot more pictures taken before you get that low on your battery. Copyright information, I did a video before how you go through and fill that out. That is kind of important, so make sure you do that right. Go back and look for our video called Copyright Information. Exposure level increments, I use 1/3 because I like to be able to be more precise. The others half stop, but you're more precise doing it 1/3 at a time, 1/3 up, 1/3 down, so on and so forth. I don't do any of the bracketing in there. Customize buttons, I've got everything pretty much set. Release shutter without lens. That is on right now, but I normally keep that off. Now, you're probably not going to run around like with the memory card, not going to run around without a lens shooting, but I keep that off. I mean to most of the time. I was playing with it the other day. So release shutter without lens, we want that off. And that is basically it. I keep it pretty simple. Biggest thing right here is your image quality. I shoot large RAW, and like I said, if you want to shoot JPEG, you can. There's all your multiple sizes you can choose from. But that is how I set my Canon R6 when I go to photograph a wedding. I use 2 memory cards, and I shoot to both memory cards. Make sure your camera, your copyright information is filled out. Make sure you're shooting everything to both cards. One picture goes to both cards. That way, if you have a card issue, you've got 2 of them. So not much to that, pretty simple. I don't get too carried away with a whole lot of it, but that's just the basics. Now, different shoots, I'll set it up different ways. But for your standard wedding, that's how I'm going to go into the wedding. Now, I might make changes during the wedding, but that's how I'm going to start it off at. So anyway, I hope that helped you guys out a little bit. And if you have any questions, my email is at the bottom, or leave a comment at the bottom, and I appreciate it. You guys have a good day, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks. So anyway, guys, I hope that helped you out. Now, if you're not using the Canon R6, a lot of menus are set up very similar to this, so you can take the information and set it up in your camera using these parameters. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, just shoot me an email or leave a message down at the bottom. I'll be glad to help you guys out. You guys hit that subscribe button. Have a good day. Thanks.